Hello, everybody. Hello, YouTube land. We'll wait for a couple people to pop in here. While you're doing that, I'm going to look at my numbers. Studio. Ain't the greatest, but it's not bad. Oh, there's one. Hey, what's up, Doc? Hey, what's up, Doc? Right. That was a good movie. Robin Williams in it. Really good movie. He was one of the actors that we lost way too soon. So, have y'all been paying attention to Oliver Anthony? New lockdown stuff. Yeah, we're not doing it either. I think it's a bunch of crap. But Oliver Anthony music, holy cow, this dude is just hitting it on the head. Um, that's the way music used to be written, and hopefully he can keep his head on his shoulders, and it'll propel him a long ways. Yeah, Richmond, north of Richmond. What a clever name for a title for every one of the songs that I've heard so far are just stuff that he's written right from the heart, and it's great. I mean, the guy's, I could call him a kid if I needed to, because I mean he's a lot younger than I am, but he's got talent. Yeah, I seen that $8 million record deal he turned down, and he just it's great. If you haven't subscribed to him, you should, and watch all of his little tutorials and stuff like that, and listen to what he's saying. Um, it's great. Yeah, he lives in a camper. 27 foot he bought off of Craigslist for $750 with a tarp on the top of it. That sounds about right. Because usually if you buy something that cheap, that means the roof's leaking. Y'all have to pardon me. My freaking sinuses are kicking my butt. I've been out mowing at night, and I just got in from mowing. So I'm going to turn you off just a second. All right, I didn't think you wanted to hear that or see it for that matter. Yeah, yeah. Yeah, and I don't like a lot of the new country that's out there. I don't like um, the voice correction stuff. I don't like it. To me, it's more like pop music more than it is country. I mean, it's not what country was really all about. Um, and there's something real about a guy with a guitar and a voice, um, singing from the heart. Um, it's fantastic. Oh, hey, what's up, Steven? I didn't see you pop in there. Yeah, and it's kind of funny that during the political debate that they played his song, and he says in there, he says he says it cracks me up. He says I wrote that song about just those kind of people, and I I had to laugh about it because I mean it is pretty funny. Um, but in that song he brings up a lot of valid points about how screwed up our system is right now. So I don't know. I'm surprised they haven't tried to shut him up. But it's ridiculous his following. I just looked at his social blade, and it's not as impressive as I thought it would be. Either that or social blade's lacking. But yeah, Doc, those engines don't make a lot of power down low just because they're a small displacement. But once you get them wound up a little bit, they'll take off and go. One one titled days dressing up like mommy. No, I don't think I quite understand that one, Mike. But I'm sure that's not supposed to be one titty day. Yeah, Doc, those were 1.4s. They were a design that was put together by, um, I think it was a Korean engine. I can't remember. I know it wasn't a GM produced engine, but it's one that they used, and it was pretty reliable as long as you didn't get it hot. If you got it hot, it would warp that head that they had on it so quick. Yeah, they get good gas mileage too. Yeah, they Mike, it's that kind of society where that is okay goes everything against what I was raised on in the Bible. I mean, it just to me it's kind of a sore subject. Um, I don't like how they're grooming the kids. The good Lord gave them certain X or Y chromosome. You can't take that away, no matter what you do. Um, but it's like, are you unhappy with what the Lord gave you as a child? So you want to make it your own. So you had a girl, but you wanted a boy, so you groom it to be a boy. Now, I don't get it. I don't. And then so you make the unisex bathrooms, and then a guy pretending to be a female goes in there and rapes women in the bathroom. Well, how is that right? It just, I don't know. Well, yeah, they think they are, but you know what? God's going to take care of that. Uh, you know, He knows what he created. and that was not in his liking. Well, Mike, that's the thing. They want to scare you to death. I mean, I've said for a long time everything that's going on is psychological warfare. Although you may not see it, or most people will be blind to it, just put the binders on and not see it at all. It's it's there, and if you don't pay attention to it, um, you're going to do more harm. But yeah, it's I don't know. The other thing that bothers me is the abortion thing. Um, okay, that goes both ways on that though. But I mean, it's like rape or incest. But it doesn't it doesn't make it right. It doesn't make it right, but it doesn't. I don't know how to say it. I mean, either way you look at it, you're ending a life. Whether or not it has a heartbeat or not, it's still a living being. A cell is a living organism, and as it multiplies and builds, eventually it builds a heart for the fetus. And any way you look at it, to me, it's killing a human being. Some of us couples weren't fortunate enough to be able to have any kids, and then they're talking about offing these kids. If they don't want them, just carry them, and hey, guess what? We'll take them off your hands. Not literally, not anymore. I'm too old to raise a kid. Well, I guess the good Lord will tell me that anyway. But honestly, I wouldn't want to raise one in today's society. I've got a ton of respect for the parents that are doing it and doing it right. Well, I'm kind of in the country, uh, Mike. I've got a little 7 acre ranch here. I mean, it's not much of a ranch, obviously, but we got a horse out there, and we're just outside of the city limits. So I guess we're in the county, and I guess you could call it country. Before too long, everything's going to be developed, and it'll no longer be a country setting. Yeah, Doc, it is. I remember it being Latin for something. Yeah, absolutely. But on the same token, why does it have to cost so much? I mean, that's what prevented us from adopting when the wife and I were younger. Um, at the time, I didn't get married till I was 30, um, so that would have made my wife 36, which to me, if you haven't had kids by in my book, if you haven't had kids by 30, then you've almost waited too long. That's just me. Um, because you got to think about how old the kid's going to be when they turn 18. Are you still going to be able to keep up with them? You know, But in the Bible, Mary had uh, Jesus way late in life. So, oh goodness, I think I'd heard about that, Mike. I thought it was a couple that was overseas. Surprised their plumbing was still working. 45 miles from the closest small town. Yeah. The only thing, Mike, that living way out in the country is there's it just that there's nothing close. I mean, if you're still working, if you're not ranching or something like that, if you're still working, you got to drive a long ways to get things. I mean, and that takes a lot of time. I can't preach enough. The older you get, the less time you have, and the more that you're the more that you feel like you're getting robbed for that time. Meatloaf and a spud, boy, you can't go wrong there. I love making meatloaf. My wife's not as nuts about my meatloaf as she is hers, but I make mine quite a bit different. It actually looks like a loaf when it's done instead of just smushed together hamburger in a pan. And I like using tomato sauce on it. Yeah, now I never actually lived on a farm, so to speak, a working farm. My uncle had a ranch down in Stigler, Oklahoma, and man, it was a cool place he had out there too. Uh, but he used to raise cattle, so we went and stayed with him one time, and his house was so cool. And he had a in-ground pool that he put out there out that was in back of his house. The pool was pretty nice, but he decided he wanted it covered. So he went and found stone from around the ranch, and that's what they used to build the pool house. Is all from stone from around the ranch. That was pretty neat. Ooh, deer stew. That's good stuff. Deer chili's fantastic. Mm. No, I didn't see it. I did not see it. But they brought up a. I was listening to Breitbart News on Patriot on Sirius the other day, and he's got a lot of secret service that are around him to protect him and stuff like that. And they made a valid point. How the Secret Service going to do their job if they put them in jail? This whole thing just stinks so bad. I mean, it stinks to no end. Um, I can't believe it's happening. Uh, I I never thought I'd see anything like this in my lifetime. It's crazy. Oh yeah, they see it. That's the whole thing. The corporate media and everybody wants you to believe that we're so divided that we're going to go after each other. And that's not the point. I don't know if you all watch Steven Crowder. He's got this new thing called the Mug Club, which I think he's doing like what Glenn Beck did, and with the Blaze TV, I think the Mug Club is something similar to that, where it's their own platform, so they can't be censored. And he did this. He did this interview. He just walked the streets, and he just went up talking to some colored folk and talking to them. And they say the same thing. It says it's not all about that. It's just people just don't want to talk to him because they think they're scared. And I guess there's a lot of prejudice in there, and they don't want to be feel left out. And well, I mean, neither do we. And I'm not prejudiced. I don't care who it is. Here's the whole thing. If you're to take one of them and one of us, a colored folk and a white folk, a Hispanic, Asian, Indonesian, uh, any of them. If you cut them all in the same thing, guess what? They all bleed red. It doesn't matter what color the skin is. It really doesn't. And the people that are using it for gains that's the wrong idea. I don't get it. If you're qualified to do a job, then that's what it is. Now, I don't think Obama was qualified to do his job, but somehow he got elected for 2 terms, and he was pretty crappy. Now, nothing compares to Brandon in office now, but that's just what it is. Yeah, they want the power. It's I'm hoping and praying it's going to turn around and bite them in the butt. But anyway, oh goodness. Oh, Canada, don't you know? I don't know if that's a good idea either, especially with old Trudeau in there, uh, French Canadian jerk off. Boy, what he did to the truckers was something fierce. I mean, I'd never seen anything like that. Oh, Castro, yeah, right. So I grilled up some steaks tonight for dinner, and boy, they were good. No, I didn't eat both of them. Made my wife one, and we had some older ribeyes that I'd vacuum packed in there, and I cooked a couple of them up, and I'm gonna have steak and eggs in the morning for breakfast. That sounds really good. Steak and eggs, and I might do a few tater tots for a potato because we don't have any hash browns. Oh, wait a minute, we might have some hash browns. Ads inserted, it says. So, yeah, we'll see what time's going. I got to get up. I got to get up early in the morning anyway, and I got to go out to the shop and work on that transmission. I'm about done with it, but it's been so stinking hot down here. Breakfast casserole is good too. Can't go wrong with that. You know what I haven't had in ages is a good quiche. Um, Mom's made quiche before. The trick is to keep it from deflating. so it's nice and airy. But yeah, usually I can eat breakfast almost any time of the day. It don't have to be in the morning. But anyway, so did y'all watch the latest video? What'd you think of it? I know it's an old one, but that was the leftover from the last build. Well, not the last build I did. I've got two others uploaded that are ready to post. I'm just figuring out. I think I'm going to try to do it again tomorrow, but I'm not going to have any time to do with it today. Trying to get my life in order. I get done with this, I think I'm going to finally get back to doing a little bit of Camaro content. And they say don't give up on YouTube, but I think YouTube's gave up on me. I tell you what, I'd love just to do it full time, but there's too many questions in it, and I don't know enough about it to make it profitable where I could support my family. Yeah, Doc, I recommend it on that particular transmission. I would recommend doing it every 30,000. Just because the heat that they build up and the way they're designed. You can. It won't hurt it none. It won't stay purple, I'll tell you that. But I used to use that AMSOIL in everything. I used to be a dealer for it, but I never did understand their business model. To me, it seemed like it was a pyramid scheme more than anything. And how they're getting away with it, I don't know. But you didn't make a whole lot of profit off of it, that's for sure. Yeah, I mean, it won't hurt it, Doc. I mean, it's supposed to have synthetic in it anyway. I think it runs 530, but it's supposed to be a synthetic oil. But anyway, yeah, I got one that I didn't think I was going to post it, but I think I'm going to. So one of the guys at work brought me his. This 4L65 had over 400,000 miles on it. It had never been into other than doing maintenance to it. And he said he was pretty meticulous about changing his fluid every 50,000 miles, somewhere close to there. And he did a lot of highway driving in it. But anyway, over 400,000 miles, and you won't believe how clean this thing was. And the only reason why he took it out is the third and fourth was starting to slip. Well, Doc, the oil's expensive, but you can go longer on it. The transmission fluid, I mean, either way you look at it, you need to do it about every 30,000 miles. The engine oil, if you're running a full synthetic oil, you don't have to change it before 6,000 miles. 6 to 7 is plenty on oil, but even synthetic. Some of these manufacturers will push that oil life monitor up to about 10,000 miles, and I'm sorry, I'm not one for it. Even on my Honda that I drive, it runs that sewing machine oil, that 020, and I change it pretty religious every 6,000 miles, and it's usually when I go in there to the oil life monitor, it says I still got 40% left, which I'm not going that long. I can't do it. I'd rather I'd rather it be almost a little over maintenance than the other way around, because I mean it'll give you more life. Ruby, the Equinox we bought, I just uh, checked into that, and it's got 40% left of the oil life monitor too, but it's within 1,000 miles of the sticker. So, but she does a lot of in town driving. So I say in town, it's 7 miles to her job. So it gets up to operating temperature just long enough to cool back off. But I did check the oil tonight on it. It still looks really good. I mean, it's super clean. Um, I'm just praying that this little Equinox, can go as long as the Escape did. I mean, that would be fantastic. But Doc, if you're doing it every 3,000, that's fine on crude oil. But if you're doing it with a synthetic oil or even a blend, that's too much. That's too often. On crude oil, yeah, I don't go much past 3,000, but on a synthetic, I'll go 5 to 6,000 miles on an oil change. Uh, Hang on again. I'm gonna mute you and shut you off here just a second. All right. It was dusty out there when I was mowing today. So, of course, it's got my sinuses stirred up. I put a class 2 on it already. What the hell is that? Put a class 2 on it. What do you mean by that, Doc? Oh, trailer hitch. Yeah, class 2 is like 5,000 pounds. Be careful about what you tow with it because, I mean, they weren't designed. Yeah, they weren't designed to carry a whole lot of weight. And if you plan on doing towing with that transmission, I would seriously consider uh, putting an external cooler on it, in addition to the one that's already there. Um, because those transmissions do not like a lot of heat. Now, I mean, if you're towing like 500 to 1,000 pounds, you probably do all right. But I would put a small external cooler on it nonetheless. It's not going to hurt it. Well, there you go. Mike, have you checked your fuel pressure? See what it is at the rail? That year, see, an '01, it should have a fuel filter on it too. So I'm assuming you would change the fuel filter also. It should have an inline one down there on the bottom. or maybe up towards the engine. Sometimes they hide them behind a little panel by the front wheel. Well, yeah, that ain't enough to run anything. 8 psi. Yeah, you should have around between 40 and 60, I think, on that one. Eight psi ain't gonna do you no good. Well, yeah, but now you're just throwing money at it. I mean, the lines and rails should have plenty of way to flow as much fuel as that engine would ever need. Yeah, the turbo motors, that particular engine will run on the 87. It doesn't. I mean, it was designed to run on the 87. But you could run 93 on it. Now, Ruby, the 2 liter that we've got, it actually recommends premium fuel only. So we run the premium in it. I run the no ethanol in the Honda. It seems to get better fuel mileage on that, but it's just a 3.5. It's no turbo or nothing like that on it. Mike, you need to look at your powers and grounds on that pump too. Make sure you're not having a voltage loss causing or high resistance on a fuel pump relay, causing that low fuel pressure. Because if you're not getting full current back there to that pump, that can be an issue. And as I recall, Ford usually has a pigtail that's easily accessible that you could put a meter in or something like that. But sounds like to me it's either got low voltage uh, or it's got a restriction somewhere. But how are they getting away with that? The 87 has 40% ethanol. These cars weren't made to run on that much. The most that they've been saying the new ones will run is 15%, unless that's E85. Well, that's not E85 though. That would be E40. But you'd have to have one that's specifically made to run E85, and most cars are not set up for that. They'll run 10 to 15% max. Well, I understand government Murphy, but I'm just telling you that's the way they're designed. If your car isn't an E85 compatible, you can't run that fuel in anything. And here's where they get you to. That fuel is cheaper, but it requires more to run your vehicle because ethanol doesn't have the same thermal efficiency as like regular fuel does. In other words, it takes more to burn and to get the same amount of power as a regular gallon of gas does. So that's where they get you. So, for instance, you get a car that runs 87 octane. Say the thing gets 20 miles a gallon. You running something with 40% content, it may drop as low as 16 miles a gallon because it takes more to run it. But that's how they get away with making the gas so cheap like that is so because it won't always run the same. It you just takes more to run it. There's a video out there that y'all ought to look up where they're showing a run on how much fuel a top fuel dragster will use in one pass. quarter-mile pass, and it goes through like 5 gallons in a quarter mile. That's a lot of stinking fuel. But that's how they can get away with not running a radiator, because it runs on nitromethane, which is really cold. That's why when you see them start them up, they're squirting actually just regular fuel down the horn for the supercharger, and once it lights off and goes, and the alcohol kicks in, that's when the thing starts slobbering all over itself. Hey, what's happening, Captain? Ah, how the heck are you? Me, I'm fighting with my damn nose tonight. Yeah, you ain't lying. It was what did it say on my? It said 101 on the temperature gauge at 2 o'clock when I left work today. It was 98 driving down the highway. It's been hot down here. Yeah, I don't know what the temperature is now right now, but it wasn't too bad. I went out and did some mowing, so I imagine it was probably in the upper 80s, low 90s still. But I tried to get some mowing done tonight. I usually go get out there about 7 o'clock, and I'll get just over an hour worth of daylight left before I can't see anything anymore. And of course, the headlights on the tractor suck, so that's about the extent of that. Yeah, we're doing all right, hanging in there. Got offered a job that sounded pretty good today, and then I got thinking about it. That's not as good as it sounds. One of the shops looked around town. He was looking for something. They were paying 1,400 a week salary, but there are no Saturdays, but they don't have any insurance. And man, that sounded good. Sounded good, but in the same instance, as far as wrenching for a living, I'm ready to hang that part up. I need to find something else. And every one of the every one of the apps that I put out there, I maybe get a call. I've gotten a call for a manager a couple of times, and never can piece something together to where it would work. But they're talking about there's all these jobs out there, and everybody says that they're hiring. Maybe. Yeah, I mean, I'm working on it, but not having much luck. I feel like I'm kind of stuck where I'm at. I mean, I would love to do my own thing again, and I've been asked several times, just to build transmissions by a lot of people. And man, if anything, that sounds more appealing than anything. Just working for myself again, right out of the house. I mean, I would dig that, but there's too many variables in there and too many what ifs, and I promised Mama that I wouldn't do another business. Yeah, oh yeah, we're getting old, all right. Well, I don't know that I'd want. Yeah, there's two of them on deck, Steven. I just don't know when I'm going to post them. Um, and I've got more that I'm working on editing, but um, I don't know that I want to deal with any employees again. If I was to do it, it would just be something out of the house. Um, doing bench builds. Um, to me, I think that's ideal for me, and I'm in my own comfort zone. I don't have to worry about overhead of having another shop that I'm paying leasing out, and so yeah, it'd be easier for me if I just did it right out of my house. Yeah, Mike, I feel you. My Z's are still Zing in the yard. Um, Before you came on, I talked about getting done with this transmission. I'm going to start doing some content on the Camarios and see what I can get done on it. I got a lot of stuff I want to do video on. Well, thanks, Steven. I appreciate that. Yeah, I made it over 30. In fact, I just looked and I was at well, here I just looked now. I'm at 40-30. So looking at the analytics, nothing's starting to pick up yet again. So, but I'm watching my views, and the views have been pretty impressive. Obviously, during the weekend or usually in the evenings when the views pick up. So, what's crazy is still that one that I did the cluster diag. That's like at the top one that's been viewed. Then transfer cases. That's crazy. But everybody still likes the 4L60 teardowns and that kind of stuff. So, that's cool. Yeah, Mike, I thought about the same thing about my fifth wheel because my fifth wheel needs some repairs, and I'm not sure if I'm going to post them on this channel or if I'm going to post them on my other channel. I've got another channel set up, which is actually the main channel. This was a satellite of that main channel, and this is where I decided to post my videos. But I've still got the other one. I just don't have anything posted on it. I thought about putting it there instead of putting it on this channel. It's called Smitty TV, and basically the whole concept on that was just to put on there stuff that I don't normally working on a car. It's just normal everyday life stuff that I do around here that I've got to do to keep up the house, and keeping up with this much property is kind of tough. Yeah, Stephen, that's they they decide to, it's part of the monetization problem on the live streams. That's something that they do. Um, I could turn it off, but I need all the help I can get. And hybrid, there's, like I said, there's nothing on there right now. So I mean, you're gonna go there and get a blank page. I mean, the channel's there, but there's no videos on there. Well, Mike, I don't know if I'm gonna be able to do much with the floors because I haven't done many floors. I haven't done many windows, but I do electric and plumbing. Um, rim joist I haven't done. Steps I'm okay with. Um, but like out here to this side, my fifth wheel sits right on the other side of this wall. I moved it. It was back over in the corner back there. And the reason why I did that is the main um, meter can is actually another circuit box. So they've got this house kind of weird the way they do it. They got a meter can, and right below it is a circuit breaker box, a smaller one, um, that they've got room for like 10 or 12 circuits in it, I think. And then the meter also feeds the other panel that's in the garage that runs the rest of the house. And so the well pump, since we're on well water, thank goodness for that. The well water or the well pump runs off of this box. And what I did is, since we used to lose power quite a bit down here, and they've gotten better over the past year or two. But so what I did is I wired in a generator plug, so I can just plug my generator plug in the bottom of this thing when the power goes out, shut off the main breaker into the house, and turn this breaker on. So then the generator just backfeeds through the panel. And that seems to work pretty good. It'll run our air conditioner, um, but I have to turn off the hot water heater. I turn off the shop just in case the compressor decides to kick on, because if the compressor tries to start, it'll kill the generator. It's done it a couple of times. It'll pop the breaker, and I couldn't figure it out for the life of me why it was doing that. And then I finally figured it out. As well, the compressor's trying to kick on, so I turned the breaker off in the panel. But it'll run all the lights and the refrigerators and the freezer, and the air conditioning without any problem. So that works pretty good. Mike, general rule of thumb is you try not to put the same lights on the same breaker. Um, the rule of thumb, what I learned from electrical, is when they wire a house, the outlets are usually wired separate from the lighting. Um, that way, if you were to pop a breaker on an outlet, you still got light to see what you're doing, unless that light, of course, is on an outlet. But I know basic electric. I know enough to keep me out of trouble. Um, I know the theory behind it, but I'm definitely no electrician. I know how to do things safely. I've wired a couple houses, changed panels out. Um, you know, read up on the code, what your code requires for the area, and you go from there. When I had my first house, I had a garage, and man, I missed that garage too. It was a 24 by 30 um, framed garage. The ceiling was a little low, but it's all right. It was perfect. I mean, it was detached from the house, and when I bought the thing, they had direct bury cable running from the house to the garage with one switch to run a fluorescent light on the top and some outlets around there, all off this one cable, direct from the house. I was like, well, that ain't gonna work. So I got with the electric company and said, hey, look, this is what I want to do. Can you run a separate meter can to my garage? And they go, oh, sure. Just have to set it up and put your weather hat on there, and it just so happened the transformer was right behind the garage. So I mean, it was a nice short run. And so I set up an electric box, and I just wired it the same as they had, which I learned that in a garage setting like that, you can't have exposed Romex unless it's in the wall, and you can't run Romex inside a conduit. You're not supposed to. Sure, that has to do with the fire code. So, um, anyway, when I got done with it, the inspector come out and says, I've done a lot of inspectors for licensed electricians, and yours looks better than half of theirs that I've ever seen. So he gave me the pass slip, and I called the electric company, and they came out and wired it up, and away we went. If I would have still been there, I would have put a mini split system in that garage to heat and cool it. That would have been ideal. I would have loved that. Because I spent the time and I actually went up. And my dad helped me when he was still alive. Um, he helped me insulate the attic on that thing. I bought some of that blow-in insulation, rented a machine, and I blew in like it was something stupid, like 24 bags of insulation or something like that up there. It gave me a good 8 inches of insulation in there, and man, that made a whale of a difference how cool it stayed. Mike, that's the way you want to do it. Try to keep your lighting separate from your outlets. That way, like I said, if you blow a circuit breaker on an outlet, you've still got light to see what you're doing, and vice versa. If you had a light plugged in the outlet and the overhead light blew, you'd still have a light. You still have an outlet with you plug a light in to see what you're doing. Hybrid, I've not had a mini split myself to use, but I've seen them in a lot of spaces. In fact, they Gree makes um, a forced air mini split system, so to speak. It uses the inverter style compressor housing, which are super efficient, but it has an air handler inside. And I'm thinking whenever it comes time that I got to replace the HVAC here, I think that's the way I'm going to end up going. And I guarantee that's probably the way I'm going to go with my shop. I've been working to find a program that I can design my own shop, because I know what I want, um, and I know it ain't going to be cheap. Oh, my mobile homes are a whole different animal. They're like an RV. on steroids. So yeah, I can imagine they are a real pain. But the shop that I want to design probably have 18-foot sidewalls, and I want to build it so I want to do a 60 by 80. And the reason why I want to do a 60 by 80 is so the next person that maybe comes and buys this house, if they've got if they've got a motor coach or something like that, they can get, and I could probably do it at 50 by 80 too, but I'd rather have the depth too. But anyway, they could fit that dude in the bay with no problem. And that's the whole idea, is because I want somewhere that I can put my camper. So, but anyway, 60 by 80 is what I'm thinking of, with 18-foot sidewalls. And on one side of it, the last like 20 feet or so, I want to build an upstairs that's going to be like an apartment, or um, something like that, an apartment, man cave, whatever you want to call it. But it'd be, if somebody was to come down and visit, they could have some place private to stay. Um, and I want the whole building AC'd, climate controlled. Now, something that big, I wouldn't use a mini split. I would use a forced air. And I think on something that size, I think you could get away with two probably 5-ton units would be plenty to cool it. But as long as, if you use the inverter style, it needs to be efficient. Yeah, Mike. One of the barns that mother-in-law had used to be, I do believe, a milking barn. It was kind of unique, but anyway, I want to have an upstairs to where they could have somebody stay if they wanted to in private. Somewhere that I could put the yard equipment. I'd be able to put my enclosed trailer in there and my fifth wheel. I'd have somewhere to put the vehicles out of the weather, because down here the Florida sun just beats the crap out of everything. And Hybrid, I know you're in the same boat since you're down in Texas. I mean, you're closer to that equator, and boy, the intensity of the UV just beats everything up. That's why I'm so worried about the Ruby, since it's red, and I haven't had a chance to get the paint correction done on it yet. And I want to ceramic coat it and get it in the garage, because it'll fit in the garage with no problem, because it's quite a bit smaller than Honda is, and the Honda fits okay. Haven't sold the bike yet. I'm trying to get there, but I really don't want to sell the bike. But I don't ride it. It's just too flippin' hot down here. I mean, you guys think, well, the weather's perfect and stuff like that. The weather is pretty nice, but the problem is riding it back and forth to work, you get stuck in the traffic, and in the afternoon when it's almost 100 degrees, you're sitting in that traffic. It's 110 sitting on that bike. It's hot, and I'd really like to see somebody else get some use out of it. I mean, if later on down the road, if I feel like I want to get another one, then I'll get another one. But until then, I just need to sell it. I hate to see it go, but then maybe I can get Bertha fixed, get my rockers and cab corners fixed up on Bertha, and get a paint job on her. But she needs it. Another, like what I was telling you, the sun just kind of beat everything up. I really want to get it painted and get it cleaned up. Mike, you would think that, but if you're, as long as you're during the day, you're okay. But believe it or not, Florida mornings down here can be kind of chilly, and my ass anymore don't want to ride in the morning if it's anything less than 50 degrees, because 50 degrees may not sound like much, but when you get going down the highway, that 50 degrees feels like 35. So yeah, it's and it takes you 10 minutes to get out of the clothes that you're on just to get somewhere. It's, to me, it's just not worth it. Better off just to hop in a cage and you got heat and air and all that good stuff. Yeah, I'm spoiled, but that's how it is. Oh, goodness gracious. Well, fellers, I see people on their bikes. Yeah, those are diehards. Those are definitely diehards. I've done it, and it's not great when you got leather on and it's that hot. Because I wear a leather vest, um, just to half-ass it, maybe protect me if I ever went down. But and I don't wear it. I don't ride in shorts. I've watched people down here, no helmets, shorts, maybe a shirt, uh, in flip flops, ride a motorcycle. Yeah, Hybrid, I'm the same bit, fellers. I've got to get going for the night. Um, I've got to get up early in the morning, so I appreciate you all taking some time to come visit and say hey. Um, but until next time, make sure to check on your loved ones in this heat. Give them a call, make sure they're all right, and take care of yourself and each other. God bless you and God bless America. We'll see you in the next one. Bye.